Hello, this is Professor Brown-Sederberg, and I just want to talk about nested if statements. If you recall, this is the program that I used to demonstrate sequential if statements. And it was a program that asked the user to enter a word, and we tested to see if the word that they had entered was dog, D-O-G. And we did so with these sequential if statements. We asked each and every one of the if statements, this looking for a D, an O, and a G, to determine if the character at the appropriate position 0, and then 1, and then 2, was the letter we were looking for. And what we did was we added to score if that condition evaluated to true. And then we had this if statement that tested if score were equal to 0. And if score is equal to 0, we know that we had entered by the user the word DOG. Now, what I'd like to do is change this and use nested if statements. And with a nested if statement, the latter if statements are only asked if the previous ones are true. So if I were to have this program be, instead of these sequential if statements, have nested if statements, I would not need to add to score if I had a true evaluation of the condition. And so I don't have to do any of that, nor do I have to test the value of score. I don't even need score, so we'll get rid of that. So what I've done is I have gotten rid of each one of the additions to score and score itself. So I don't need that at all. What I will do, getting rid of that if, is put this statement, the print statement, as the statement to be executed if this, the last if statement, is true. Now these are nested if statements. I'll test this condition, that is the character at position 0 of string S equal to D? If that's true, I'll ask this question, if the character at position 1 of string S is equal to O, and then this question, is the character at position 2 of string S equal to G, will only be asked if this evaluates to true. If my last if statement evaluates to true, I'll execute this line, that is, we'll print to the screen the string correct. With these nested if statements, I only ask a subsequent question if the prior one is true. So let's compile this. We'll first save it. And this will be nested if statements. We'll save it, and then we'll compile. And here we have a clean compilation. We'll run, and we'll have the user enter the word DOG. We print correct. Let's run it again. Have the user enter cat, and we have nothing printed out because we only print out correct if each one of these is indeed evaluated to true. I only ask these subsequent questions if the prior one evaluates to true. Now I could have put curly brackets around these, and I would have done so this way, a curly bracket there and a curly bracket there, and this would be my outer, this would be my if number 1, I guess I'd call it. I'd put a curly bracket here and a curly bracket here. I'll call that if number 2, and a curly bracket here, and then we can see that the last would go right here, and it will compile, and it should run the same way. And I'll enter in dog, and I have correct, and I run it again, enter in cat, and I get nothing. So what we want to take away from this is that these nested if statements, the subsequent questions, the subsequent if statements, are only executed if the prior evaluates to true. And here we see that in this treatment of this problem, I have very, very quickly and easily asked all the questions that I needed to ask and not asked the ones that I didn't. See, when my user entered in CAT, this first if statement evaluated to false I didn't ask any of the subsequent ones. I didn't ask about the second character or the third. Where when we looked at sequential ifs, I asked all of the questions, and I also needed that variable score. Here, I only ask the questions that I need to ask. Once I hit a false, I drop out of the structure. So this is a demonstration of nested if statements. Very useful in the right situations. Thank you.